Have you ever looked at a place and felt something was just off? Not dangerous, not scary, just wrong? You can't quite describe it. A hallway that feels too long, a room that echoes too much, lights that hum just a little too loud. The carpet squishes under your shoes and suddenly you're not sure how you got here. You look behind you. No door, no exit, no people. Dingy carpet, fluorescent lighting. It should have been boring. But something about that photo felt deeply familiar and terrifying. The caption read, "Just endless yellow walls, stained and decaying. Ceiling tiles don't quite match. Fluorescent lights flicker overhead, buzzing louder than they should." Users from all over the world began expanding the story, adding new levels, creatures, and survival rules. The Backrooms became a collaborative nightmare. But what's truly disturbing is that many claimed they recognized it. They said they dreamed of this place. They find strange objects, a child's toy, a half-eaten sandwich, a rusted-out shopping cart. All of it out of place. All of it wrong. Just when they begin to accept the loneliness, they hear something. Voice. Their own voice, calling their name from down the hall. Some saw it during fevers. Others described it during sleep paralysis. That same yellow, that buzzing sound, that feeling of being watched. Welcome to the Backrooms. Once you're inside, you may never get out. Endless rooms, yellow walls, damp carpet, lights that never turn off. It feels almost harmless until you realize that nothing ever changes. There are no windows, no time. Don't turn around, just run. Because the longer you stay, the more the Backrooms erase you. Your identity fades, your memories crumble. Some say you become part of the rooms, absorbed into the walls, into the buzz of the lights, into the void itself. You walk for hours, but the layout never ends. You feel lost. But it's not just spatial confusion, it's something deeper. Time unravels, memory slips. Some are pitch black. Some are so bright they burn your eyes, and others are far worse, because they're not empty. You begin to forget what the sky looks like, what your name is, what it felt like to be human. This isn't a dream. It's not a glitch in your mind. The Backrooms are a real place. At least that's what thousands of people online believe. Some call it a dimension. Others say it is a forgotten layer of reality spaces that weren't meant to exist, but somehow do. And the worst part, if you're not careful, you can fall into them. A humanoid creature that mimics human behavior and appearance. Poorly. It wears the skin of those it finds, literally. Said to smile too wide, move too fast, and it mimics voices. If you hear yourself speaking, from somewhere else run, where it's nothing but the stench of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights. But survival tips shared by those who claim to have escaped horror at least survived longer than most. And 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. Panic gets you lost faster. People say it happens when you knocklip out of reality. Like in a video game when your character moves through a wall or slips through the floor by mistake. But this time, it's your body, your consciousness, your soul. You enter an elevator, the doors close, and when they open, you're no longer in the building. You're here, surrounded by nothing but dead silence, rotting yellow wallpaper, and the dreadful sense that you're not alone. It all started with a photo. A single image posted anonymously on 4chan in 2019. Just a yellow room, no furniture, no windows. If you're not careful and you knocklip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the Backrooms 600 million square miles. That's more than Earth. It doesn't make sense, and that's exactly why it haunts people. What followed was a digital explosion. The image gave birth to an entire mythos. Let's talk about level 0. It's where most people arrive. Some explorers, if you can call them that, report hallucinations. They hear footsteps, see shadows that vanish when they turn. That's when they know they're not alone. That's when the entities appear. Level 0 is supposedly empty, but there are beings that walk its endless corridors. The most infamous, Skin Stealer. There are rules, not official ones. Stay calm. Mark your path. Don't trust your markings, they move. Never drink the water that drips from the ceiling. Avoid voices, unless you know where they're coming from. If you find almond water, Drink at tit might be the only thing keeping you sane. Avoid dark corridors. Never use elevators unless you're sure they're safe. If something starts chasing you, don't stop. Most importantly, don't forget who you are. And this is only level 0. There are hundreds of other levels made of frozen metal, collapsing factories, deserts with no sky, ocean floors without water, and each level has its own rules, its own predators, its own traps. But we'll get to those. You've just taken your first step into the Backrooms, and the next level already knows you're here. You thought level 0 was terrifying? That endless maze of yellow wallpaper and buzzing lights? That was just the beginning. Most people spend hours, or what they think are hours, wandering those stained, humid corridors. But the Backrooms doesn't play by our rules. Time stretches and snaps, and space folds in on itself, replaced by rotting concrete and rusted steel. The air becomes heavier, as if the entire space is breathing around you. You start to see shadows moving just out of reach. You might think it's your mind playing tricks on you, but then, the growling starts. Fluorescent lights still hang above, but they flicker erratically. One moment you're bathed in pale light, the next you're drowning in pitch-black silence. And that buzzing sound, it's different now. Sharper, louder, aggressive, like something mechanical is whispering just behind the noise. Some wanderers say they walked for minutes before falling asleep. Others say they walked for days. Doesn't matter. Eventually, almost everyone blacks out, wakes up somewhere else, somewhere worse. Level 1 is what greets you next. If you're lucky, the yellow walls are gone. The temperature drops. Ceiling drips with cold water. They call them hounds. Crawling humanoid creatures twisted beyond recognition. Their limbs bend the wrong way. They don't walk, they lurch. And once they see you, they chase. When they stop, the steps stop. When they run, the steps vanish, till they turn a corner and find a dead-end and something waiting in the dark. People describe their movements as unnatural, erratic. Some say the hounds mimic human voices, luring victims by calling out for help. Others say the creatures were once human themselves, victims of the Backrooms who mutated over time. But that's just a theory. The truth, no one knows. Or a tiny maintenance closet that contains an entire library. Books in strange languages, symbols that seem to move when you blink. And always the feeling of being watched. One moment you're shivering, the next you feel your skin starting to peel. The walls are lined with machinery that never stops gears grinding. Engines groaning like an abandoned factory that refuses to die. And if you manage to survive level 1, congratulations. Another says she found a mirror that showed herself aged by 50 years, screaming in silence. A third described a room where every surface was covered in eyes and each eye blinked in perfect sync with his heartbeat. One might look like a flooded apartment complex where every door leads to a new nightmare. Another might resemble a childhood home, but twisted, decayed, and filled with whispers that sound like your voice. Because level 2 doesn't care about survival, it was designed for suffering. The environment becomes industrial, claustrophobic metal corridors with no ventilation. Steam pours from cracked pipes. The temperature here can rise fast. But the worst part isn't the heat or the noise, it's the entities. They don't have names, just descriptions. A tall, eyeless humanoid wrapped in wires. A black silhouette that screams when you look at it. Shadow with too many hands. Some explorers report hearing footsteps behind them. Always behind. Level 2 is also where reality begins to fall apart completely. Doors loop back to themselves. Stairs lead up but take you down. Reflections don't match your movements. Above all, it watches. You might find a hallway that stretches for hours only to end in a brick wall. Some people find sublevels and mapped layers that exist between the levels we know. They're different every time. These sublevels are unstable. The laws of physics do not apply. The walls can disappear. The floor can liquefy. Time can stop. One survivor claimed to walk into a room and see his own body asleep on the floor as if he'd left his physical self behind. Reality doesn't bend here. It shatters. You start forgetting who you are, why you're here, where you came from. Voices echo through the halls. Sometimes yours. Sometimes a loved one. Sometimes something else pretending to be them. And just when you think you've adjusted to the madness, the Backrooms introduces new rules, new horrors. It adapts. it evolves. Many believe that the deeper you go, the more personal the levels become. Like it's reading your fears, creating your own private hell. You're no longer exploring the back rooms, you're being absorbed by them. Some explorers leave behind notes written in blood, etched into walls, or recorded on decaying tapes. They all say the same thing. Don't trust the layout. Don't follow the voices. Don't look behind you. Sometimes even following the rules doesn't help. Sometimes the Backrooms just wants you to stay forever. Just when you think you've seen it all, the Backroom smiles back at you. Literally. The walls are painted with childish patterns. There's a table full of cake, and a group of tall, clown-like figures stands frozen near the entrance. They're called partygoers, and they aren't here to celebrate. These entities wear permanent smiles painted on their plastic faces. Their eyes are hollow, their bodies are human-shaped, but wrong limbs bending at unnatural angles, joints clicking as they move with eerie precision. They don't talk. They giggle, loud and long. Welcome to Level Fun, a twisted place that looks like a child's birthday party, balloons floating. It's confetti raining from the ceiling and off-key music echoing through the halls. That means you're trapped in their party, forced to play games you don't understand. But when they get close, they inject a yellow fluid that paralyzes your body and warps your mind. No sound. You can't see your own hands. Can't even hear your own footsteps. It's like being submerged in liquid shadow. Then you hear it. Breathing. Wet. Close. Hungry, and it's not coming from you. Something waits. A massive entity known only as the Thing. No one has seen it clearly, but everyone hears it. Slow, monstrous breathing beneath the waves. It doesn't chase. It doesn't swim. It just waits. Until the house starts to sink, or until you finally close your eyes. And then it rises. Once you're down, they smile wider, and you disappear. Forever. Some say the darkness is alive, feeding on your memories, stripping away your identity. The longer you stay, the more your mind decays. Eventually you forget your name, forget you were ever human, and when that happens, you become part of the void. And when you lose, they turn you into part of the decor. The house bends reality. Water drips upward, gravity shifts sideways. Time doesn't move in a straight line. Side furniture rots, doors loop back on themselves. And you feel like you're constantly being pulled downward by something unseen. No sound, no walls, no threats, just nothingness. Some believe it's the final level, the exit. They want you to forget what reality ever was until you're just another piece of the endless nightmare. And the deeper you go, the harder it is to remember if you've ever lived outside these yellow humming walls. But most know better. Level 999 isn't a way out. It's the end of thought. A place where your mind is slowly erased by the silence. You sit down, you rest, you forget. Blood stains the walls behind the streamers. The balloons release toxic gas when popped, and the cake, made from the remains of other explorers. But don't let the bright colors and decorations fool you. Level Fun is one of the most disturbing and dangerous layers of the Backrooms. At first glance, it feels almost welcoming. Anyone who makes eye contact becomes a guest. Some say that partygoers can mimic survivors wave at you from the hallway, even whisper your name. If you ever see a table set with cake, don't eat it. If you hear laughter echoing in the distance, don't follow it. And if someone offers you a balloon, run. Now imagine you escape Level Fun. You think the worst is behind you, but the Backrooms only go deeper. There's a place called Level. Just an exclamation mark. You only enter it by accident, and once you do, you have no time to react. The moment you arrive, you're forced to sprint, nonstop, relentless. You're hunted by creatures that move faster than reality can process. The air feels sharp, your vision distorts. If you stop for even a second, you're caught and erased. Then there's Level 6, a black void of infinite darkness. There's no light. Level 6 doesn't hunt. It waits. It surrounds you with silence, so complete that your own thoughts become your enemies. If that doesn't break you, Level 7 might. It's an endless flooded ocean with a single decaying house floating in the middle, and below the surface of that water. But the most terrifying level might be the one that feels like peace. Level 999. It's a place of pure white. You forget who you are. You forget you were ever trying to escape. And then stop existing altogether. The backrooms don't want to kill you. They want to break you mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Were you ever really free? Or have you always been here? Lost inside a maze that was never meant to end? You've wandered through the endless yellow halls, fled from creatures beyond comprehension, and seen impossible levels that warp your mind. But have you ever stopped to wonder how the backrooms came to exist in the first place? The truth is far more terrifying than any entity you've encountered. They're thought to be a dimensional era side effect of reality itself breaking down. Imagine the universe as a massive, seamless fabric. Each thread holds together the laws of physics, space, and time. But what happens when a thread is pulled too far or starts to fray? The result is not just a hole. It's a bleeding wound, a tear in reality. And from that wound, the backrooms seep through. Some believe the backrooms were never supposed to exist in our world. Not quite dream, not quite nightmare, but something else entirely, an unnatural space where the rules collapse and something older than time begins to take hold. Some call it a glitch. Others call it a curse. They are the cosmic leftovers, the dark in-between. It's a system crash on a global scale, looping hallways, flickering lights, and broken logic. You're not just lost, you're stuck in a place not meant for you, a region of data not meant to be accessed. But some believe we created it. In the late 20th century, rumors began to swirl about classified government experiments and secret underground labs. Slowly, the backrooms began to grow, feeding on fear, on memory, on space itself. These were not your average scientific tests. These were experiments in spatial manipulation, folding space, attempting to link two distant places with a single step. The longer you're inside, the more the backrooms mold themselves around your deepest fears, your traumas, your regrets. They become the walls, the echoes, the entities. That's its pulse. The temperature changes, its breath, the maze rearranging itself behind you, of walls that seem to bend inward, as if curious, static that forms words, not always in English, but in tones that make your skin crawl. And sometimes it speaks to you, offers you comfort, tells you to let go. And the moment you do, when you give up hope, it begins to consume who you were. You become part of it. That's its awareness shifting focus. You're not navigating a structure. You're inside something that thinks, something that feels. For a moment, they opened a doorway to somewhere else, or exactly what it needed to grow stronger. What if you were pulled in because you were perfect for it? But it wasn't another city. It wasn't even on Earth. It was something far more ancient. Something wrong. Whatever they touched them back. The goal: instantaneous travel, strategic advantage, control over reality itself. And then something went wrong. According to leaked documents and testimonies from supposed whistleblowers, one of these experiments succeeded. Think of the world as a codebase, a massive digital construct governed by complex rules. What if the backrooms are corrupted files, a forgotten level, a sandbox left running by some higher intelligence? The lab was locked down, the project was shut down. But not before reality had been pierced like skin under a needle. A hole remained. There's also a growing belief that the backrooms aren't even part of our physical reality. Instead, they may exist inside a simulation, a broken program, that would explain why the layout changes, why time flows in unpredictable ways, why nothing seems quite real. But even that might be too comforting, because the final theory is worse. Some believe the backrooms are alive, not symbolically, literally, a sentient realm. The buzzing lights. Survivors tell stories of soft whispers that grow louder when you stop moving. This living entity doesn't chase you. It doesn't need to. It waits. It adapts. It learns from you. And here's the most terrifying part. What if it chose you? What if the moment you knock-lipped through reality, it wasn't random? What if your mind, your memories, your soul, and once it has you, it erases the parts of you that remember the real world? You don't even know you're trapped. You just wander forever. What if I told you that some people claim to have made it back? That they've seen the yellow halls, heard the buzz, felt the walls closing in, and somehow survived. These stories are rare, scattered, often deleted from forums within hours. But if you look close enough, deep enough, you'll find them. And when you do, They'll change how you see reality forever. They posted a series of fragmented entries describing how they had woken up in a building that looked like an old corporate office, no windows. Yellow-stained walls, carpets soaked in something damp, and a humming sound that never stopped. They didn't remember walking in. They just were there. They said the lights above flickered like a heartbeat. Slow, unnatural, sometimes pausing as if listening. One of the earliest known accounts appeared on an obscure message board in 2011. The user's name was simply CORRIDOR. They wandered for what felt like days, but their watch never ticked. They got hungry, but never starved. They screamed, but the sound never echoed. The halls were always familiar, but never the same. They didn't remember falling asleep. But as they descended, the stairs kept going, spiraling deeper and deeper until gravity seemed to shift. And they realized they were now walking on the ceiling of another level. A girl named Lyra shared a voice message, shaky, filled with static. She said she had knock-lipped through the back wall of her school during a fire drill. 1 second she was there. The next, she was in level 0. That's when they heard it. The gurgling footsteps. What followed was a timeline of madness. When she looked inside, it didn't reflect her. It showed her parents crying, lighting candles, holding her photo, and then her own face appeared, smiling back at her from inside the mirror. They stood still, eyes wide, dressed in clothes from different decades. It showed the hallway, the mirror, and the blurry face of the man in the 1940s suit. Standing right behind her, a man in a 1940s suit, a kid with a Walkman, a woman holding a flip phone. Frozen in fear, like mannequins made of memory. Just that it was too smooth, like it had no bones. He said the walls changed based on what he was thinking. When he focused on childhood memories, the halls turned into warped versions of his old school. When he thought about water, mold spread across the carpets and walls started leaking, and that it could smell thoughts. They ran for hours, or maybe minutes, until they found a flickering green exit sign. And just before he blacked out, he saw her face melt into static, pixelated and inhuman, and brightened when she gave up. They sprinted toward it. The light consumed them. CORRIDOR claimed that time inside didn't make sense. At one point, they found a stairwell, something they thought would finally lead them out. They didn't describe the entity in detail. And then they woke up, in their bed, at home, clothes dry, watch working, but the buzzing never stopped. And neither did the sense that something had followed them. The post was deleted within the day. The user never posted again. Years later, a second story surfaced, this time in a private Discord group dedicated to urban anomalies. Her story was different. Lyra said she met others inside, not creatures, people. They didn't speak, didn't move. She tried to talk to them, but they only blinked when she turned away. She wandered for what she believed was months. Her hair grew, her shoes wore down. She said the lights dimmed when she felt hope. Eventually, she found a mirror, just standing there in the middle of a hallway, not hanging, just balanced against the wall. She touched it and woke up in a hospital. No one believed her. But her fingernails were worn down, her feet were blistered. And inside her backpack, the nurses found a Polaroid. There's also the case of Nathan, an IT technician who shared his story on an old Reddit post that was archived shortly after. Nathan claimed that the backrooms weren't random, they were reactive. But it was when he thought about his wife, who had died 2 years before, that things turned dark. He turned a corner and found her standing there, alive. She smiled, spoke his name, told him to come home. Everything felt perfect, until she blinked without eyelids. Nathan ran. The world twisted around him. The halls shrank. The light went red. When he woke up, he was in his office chair. Emails open, coffee cold. He thought it was a dream, until he opened his phone, found a voicemail from his wife. Recorded at 3:33 a.m., it said in her voice, "Come back. You don't belong there yet." And then static. No number, no trace, nothing in the call log. Some people say these stories are hoaxes, creepypastas, fictional ARGs. But how do you explain the photos? The corrupted audio files? Fingerprints found inside sealed buildings? How do you explain survivors with missing time, with scars from rooms that shouldn't exist? Maybe they did escape. Or maybe the backrooms let them go. Because the scariest thing about these stories is not that they ended. It's that the backrooms might have decided they weren't ready yet. Most people have heard of level 0. Some know about level 1, maybe even level 2, where the buzzing stops and the danger begins to feel alive. But deep within the backrooms, beyond the endless halls and glitching floors, there are levels so obscure, so unnatural, that not even the entities dare to enter. Levels where logic dies, where even time is afraid to exist. They're not always numbered. Some are named in whispers. Others have no names at all, just symbols scratched into concrete or coordinates that don't exist in this dimension. Let's start with one of the most feared: level. It's not something you can walk into. You're thrown there, ripped violently from whatever level you were in, usually after breaking the laws of the back rooms. Running too fast, screaming too loud, touching what you shouldn't. The moment you enter level, you're in motion. You're sprinting. Always. A dark hallway stretches ahead of you, infinitely long, lined with emergency lights blinking in chaotic rhythm. Sirens blare, metal doors slam behind you. Behind those doors, something is chasing you. You never see it. But you're not the same. Your legs tremble, your heart stutters. Your shadow moves slightly out of sync with your body. But you hear it. The name sounds innocent, childish, almost like a joke. You feel it breathing against the back of your neck. There's only one way out. Survive the run, for hours, for days, without stopping. Clown masks, paper hats, some even wear human skin as part of the costume. Confetti in the air, cake on the tables, and corpses wearing party hats, smiling with empty eyes. They dance to silence, they kill with laughter. If you collapse, you wake up in level 0 again. Then there's the dreaded level fun, equals, no, but this level is anything but. Imagine a birthday party frozen in time. Colorful balloons. The walls are covered in children's drawings. But the crayon art shows things no child should ever imagine. People melting, being torn apart by creatures shaped like clowns. Smiling sunshines with sharp teeth. Houses on fire with the words, "Welcome home," scribbled over them in red. In this level, the entities are dressed as partygoers. They speak in nursery rhymes. And if you try to scream, they put a candle in your mouth and sing happy birthday. The light outside looks inviting. Calm, sunny day, trees, grass, maybe even people walking by. Few escape level fun. The people outside stop walking. They turn, one by one, until they're all staring directly at you. Those who do are never quite sane again. They flinch at music. They don't blink. But if you blink, they get closer. They fear balloons. They avoid mirrors, because sometimes they say they see the clowns dancing behind the reflection. Another forbidden space is the windows. This isn't a level exactly. It's more like a trap, with your face pressed against it, trapped inside, begging not to be looked at. Scattered across various levels, you'll find rooms with perfectly clean windows, a rarity in the back rooms. You might think it's a way out. It's something only those who try to outsmart the back rooms end up in, those who try to hack the system, break the physics, or use lucid dreaming to map the levels. You're wrong. The moment you look too long, smiling, they don't move. If you touch the glass, your hand starts to bleed from the inside. Veins burst, bones ache, and then you're pulled through. No one knows where you go. It's just that the window becomes a mirror afterward. But again and again, each time more distorted, until it's unrecognizable, until it tells you things you've never said. There's also mention of level infinity, sometimes called the void below. It's not reached by accident. This level is pure darkness, literally. You stand in front of mirrors and nothing looks back. No sound, no smell, no feeling. At first, people say it feels like floating. Then it feels like falling. And it feels like being observed. For all eternity. Some claim that if you scream in level, infinity, your own voice comes back to you just once. People who've returned from this level lose their reflection. One final place should be mentioned. The entity sanctum. No one knows which level it's in. Some say it moves. Others say it's everywhere, hidden behind invisible doors. It's described as a cathedral made of flesh. Pulsing walls, veins like wires, statues that cry blood, and in the center, a massive eye closed. Always closed. But those who enter, They say they feel it watching, judging, feeding, if the eye opens. The entire level collapses and the person is never seen again. Not even their memory remains. People forget they existed. Their photos vanish. Their names disappear from digital records. It's as if the Backrooms rewrites reality, erasing those who see too much. So the question is, why do these places exist? Are they prisons, punishments, or sanctuaries for something far older than us? Whatever the answer is, one thing is certain. If you ever find yourself in a level that seems too strange, too quiet, too still, you're probably already in one of them. And once you're there, there's no map, no exit, no mercy, only you, the dark, and whatever else is listening. We've explored the endless halls. We've seen the monsters. We've heard the screams that echo through forgotten levels. But now comes the real question. Who created the Backrooms? Some believe the Backrooms are part of a massive, highly advanced simulation, a virtual space built by a civilization far beyond our understanding. Maybe it was meant for testing. Maybe it was a sandbox. Or maybe it was never meant for human minds at all. Places that didn't follow any rule because rules hadn't been invented yet. But the worst part? Some say our world is sinking. That reality is slowly collapsing into the Backrooms. Every glitch in the Matrix, every déjà vu, every lost time moment, just a leak, fracture. And one day we'll all wake up in yellow rooms with no way back. It's no longer just fiction. It's a shared nightmare. Growing teeth. And the more we talk about it, the more likely we are to fall into it. Just imagine you wake up one day and your hallway stretches too far. The lights flicker. You hear humming. You open your front door and it's not your world anymore. The glitches we see, the repeating rooms, the impossible architecture, they're not accidents. They're bugs. Corrupted code trying to hold itself together, but on purpose. According to this idea, a secret group, some call them the Foundation. Others, the architects, wanted to create a reality separate from ours. The rooms started duplicating themselves. New levels appeared without instruction. The entities manifested. And the original creators vanished, consumed by their own creation. Some claim to have found terminals in the deeper levels, old computers running bizarre programs, codes written in languages no longer used, video logs of people losing their minds. Even stranger, some entities speak human languages. They understand fear. They enjoy causing it. So the theory is this. We built a prison, but we forgot to lock the door. Backup dimension. A place to test psychological endurance, control minds, manipulate perception. Maybe it was for military use. Maybe it was to contain anomalies. Or maybe it was part of a larger plan to escape the collapse of our own world. Because places like this don't just appear. There's intention behind every level, every glitch, every entity. The deeper you go, the more it starts to feel like something wants you there, not just to trap you, but to observe you. It suggests the Backrooms are a byproduct of the human mind, a collective hallucination so strong, so detailed that it became real. Think about it. Millions of people reading stories, imagining levels, creating maps, designing monsters. What if consciousness, collective imagination was enough? And if fear itself manifested the Backrooms? Some call them the forgotten basement of the universe. A place that existed before Earth, before time, before the laws of physics. In this theory, our reality was built on top of the Backrooms, like a house over a graveyard. And every now and then, reality cracks. The seams split, and someone falls through. The entities, they're not invaders. They're the original inhabitants, or the intruders. That's why some levels feel like prisons, others like mazes, others like testing chambers. To learn from you, let us start with the most accepted theory, at least among those who've spent decades documenting these horrors. And us, we're not supposed to be here. We're like a virus in the system. The entities are firewalls. Each level is a quarantine. But here's the terrifying part. What if the simulation is trying to learn from us, to adapt, to evolve? Each time someone survives a level, the next becomes harder. Each time someone escapes, the Backrooms change just slightly. People report levels that didn't exist before, rooms that remember them, doors that close only for certain individuals. This theory suggests the Backrooms are alive. Not conscious in the way we are, but responsive. And the longer you stay, the more it learns how to break you. Another theory is more ancient. It suggests the backrooms were never man-made or machine-made. They are older than reality. This theory also explains the deeper levels, the flesh cathedrals, the void, the anti-levels as remnants of a pre-reality. And then there's the theory no one wants to believe. That we created the backrooms, not by accident, it's not as a side effect of technology. They started with one room, then 10, then 100, and then something went wrong. There's a final darker theory, one that blames no machine, no ancient god, no government, but us. Some theorists believe the more people believe in the backrooms, the stronger it becomes, the bigger it grows, the more detailed the entities appear. You've heard the theories, you've seen the levels, you've learned about the entities. But there's something far more terrifying than the backrooms themselves. Something we rarely say out loud because once you hear it, once you truly understand it, there's no going back. The backrooms always know where you are. Some survivors say they reached an exit, a level that looked like home. Same bedroom, same furniture, same photos on the wall, but the silence was too loud, the light too white. Their family members stared for too long, blinked too slowly, and when they tried to leave again, the doors wouldn't open. You're already inside. Why that buzzing noise keeps playing in your head? Why hallways at your job feel longer than they should? Why you forget how you got to certain places? Through cracks in thought, through stories like this. Because maybe, just maybe, it's the act of hearing this story is what opens the door.
Ow.
You didn't just watch a video tonight, you took a step. In the moment you realize you're standing in it, that's when it's already too late. If you hear buzzing in your ears later, if the walls start to ripple, if your hallway suddenly feels wrong, these are not coincidences. These are signs. The backrooms aren't somewhere you fall into. They're already here. They saw the real world again. They realized it wasn't real at all. The grass was too green. The sky didn't move. People had blank faces. The worst part, their memories started to fade. Day by day, they forgot the smell of sunlight, the taste of food, the sound of their own name, as if the backrooms were erasing them, even outside its walls. Before the lights start to flicker, there is no escape. It doesn't matter how fast you run, how clever your plan is, how deep your knowledge goes. Other reports are even darker. People who found an exit, but when they stepped through, they entered another level. It's called the echo loop, okay? A trap that mimics your reality so perfectly you don't even realize you're still inside. And you could live there for years. Until something twitches wrong, something you can't ignore, a smile that lingers, a shadow that doesn't move. And then it hits you. You never left. You were just given hope to keep you calm. But the scariest theory, the one no one wants to believe, is that the moment you discover the backrooms, that's why you've been dreaming of yellow walls. They bleed into our world. Through glitches, run. But don't look back. Because if you do, you might see it. The endless corridor. The flickering lights. The place that doesn't belong now. Ask yourself one final question. When was the last time you were truly sure you were in the real world? If your heart's still racing, and your mind's questioning everything, then you're exactly where you should be. Dan T, forget to like this video if you made it this far. It helps more people discover the truth about the backrooms. Make sure to subscribe, because this is just the beginning. There's another terrifying story waiting for you right now. It's on your screen. Click it. See you in the next level.